Mark Skaar on 103.7 The Fox. It's the Skaar Kaard as we welcome in Rick Ventura from Riot Act. Rick, how are you, sir?
Well, doing good. Thanks. And yourself?
I'm doing well. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
My pleasure.
And, of course, you're here because of Riot Act. And I just received in the mail last week a 6-song EP, and it sounds great. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, man. I'm glad you like it.
And, of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about your partnership with now the late Lou Kouvaris, and this is how this got going.
Yeah, it's just so tragic. I don't even know where to begin. It's just been a tragic year. I mean, just the whole, everything with Riot has been tragic, but this was just so unexpected. We were off to a great start. We were performed at the Heavy Metal Award Gala in California in January. We were well received. Did the recording of the EP, and we were ready to head to Greece to do a small tour of Greece, and then this whole COVID-19 kicked in. We decided not to go because we were afraid of possibly being trapped overseas, couldn't get back in the States, and 2 weeks later, Lou catches the virus. And 2 weeks later, he passed away. So it's just extremely sad. It's just so sad. It's we still can't believe it. We were pretty devastated by it. But on this recording, you'll hear Lou. His last performance on this EP. So it's a cool thing to have.
Talking with Rick Ventura from Riot Act, and of course, I know you guys were writing too. Not only these songs, the Riot songs from the first 3 records, but you were writing also.
Yeah, we had just started to work on material, and everything just came to a halt. Things are starting to open up here. We decided. With the release of the Overdrive video that's out, to show as a tribute to Lou and to show that the band's going to continue. So we'll be working on new material, and over the next few months. So I'm looking forward to that.
Rick, let's talk about the other members of the band, if you would.
Sure.
Let's start with Don, your singer.
Yeah, Don's just phenomenal. We were very lucky to find Don, and it was through a friend of Lou who turned us on to him. And at our first meeting, we played three of the old Riot songs, and we just looked at each other and said, "Wow, this is really sounds dynamite." We were blown away. Captured the spirit of Guy and the energy, and it just took off after that. So we were very fortunate to find Don, and looking forward to doing new material with him. So it's going to be pretty exciting. And then there's other members. Mm-hmm. There's Paul Ranieri on bass. What can I say about Paul? If you just watch the video, I think that's all you have to do is just watch the video. His hands are all over the place. He's a great player. I'm very fortunate to have him. Claudio Galinsky on drums, a powerhouse, full of energy. Just a great combination. I was playing with Claudio and Paul for a bit, and we gelled together quite well. And when Lou and I decided to put this together, we were saying, who do we get, They said, well, I'm playing with Paul and Claudio, and it sound pretty damn good, So we all got together and tried it out, and was like, yeah, okay, let's go with this. This is pretty damn good, And then Don came along, and it was just like, everybody's on board, we're raring to go, and we're still going to move on. The excitement's still there, and just hope to break out of this COVID-19 situation here. It's on. It's opening up here in New York. Just hope things can stay at a certain level and no spikes anywhere, because we're dying to play. I mean, every band is dying to play. It's just so frustrating not being able to play.
Mm-hmm.
We filmed our parts separately for the Overdrive video, and hopefully in the next month or so we'll be playing together.
And I'm so thankful, Rick, that you guys are staying together. That pleases me, and I'm sure it's what Lou would have wanted.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind, because he wanted this to happen for quite a while. He had asked me in the past, and I was a bit skeptical, because it's always hard to recreate something. I mean, you're really not going to recreate what was, at a certain period in time. But having Don, Paul, and Claudio, they were so excited about it, and the enthusiasm just, spread amongst us. And as soon as we started playing those songs, Lou and I looked at each other, and it was just so much fun to play those songs, especially since we were guitar players on those early albums,
mm-hmm.
and Lou and I had never played together. So it was a real blast. It was just, just looking at the smile on everyone's face. It was just so much fun to play those songs, and that's why we went ahead with it.
Talking with Rick Ventura from Riot Act. Now I want to go back because you replaced Lou for the Narita record back in 1979, right?
Right.
And you were on Capitol Records.
Right, yeah. We bouncing around from label to label. The band, went through some member changes there, and Narita was New Era, and then I like the record. I know everybody loves Fire Down Under, which is a great record. I also like Narita a lot of good songs, and it's up there, one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love it too. And I know you toured somewhere in there with Sammy Hagar, which probably was a huge thrill, especially for Mark being such a Montrose fanatic.
Oh yeah. I mean, we grew up. We used to play Montrose tunes during our rehearsals. We'd break into Rock Candy or Rock the Nation. Mark was heavily influenced by Montrose. I mean, you could hear that. We had a lot of different influences. I had a lot of the English influences. Guy was into English bands too. He was into Thin Lizzy. He was into Foghat. I was into Purple. Led Zepp, Montrose. We were a good combination, because we were all, grew up listening to the same music, playing the same music.
The good stuff.
Right? Definitely.
And we're on the 40th anniversary of Castle Donington when you played with Ritchie Blackmore, and Rainbow headlined that, and you played with Saxon and April Wine, and I know that you changed the rhythm section by that point, and that was a real high point, I'm sure.
Oh, that was mind-boggling. Looking out there and seeing this sea of, as Saxon says, denim and leather, you know. It was like a mini Woodstock. It was unbelievable. Thrill of a lifetime, especially playing with Ritchie, one of my idols. And yeah, it was an absolute blast, and the band was so fired up for that. And you can hear it on the record.
Talking with Rick Ventura, we're kind of walking down memory lane. I think before that, you had an occasion to tour with Bon Scott era AC/DC.
Oh, yeah. Very lucky to have toured with them during that period. I mean, Bon is one of the great vocalists, frontman, hard-driving, hard-drinking rock and roller. You know, he was the real deal. Yeah, I loved AC/DC during that period, and later too. You know, yeah, that was a thrill.
And then I know somewhere in there you toured with Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio.
Yep, another unbelievable tour, playing with our idols. I loved Dio and Rainbow, and to get the Heaven and Hell album's a great record, and getting to play with Sabbath and meeting them was just a thrill of a lifetime. So we had some great tours and performances.
And then, of course, you switched from, I think you recorded Fire Down Under for Capitol, right?
Right, and wound up going with Elektra Capitol. They didn't hear a single, like Riot was a singles band.
Right.
Yeah, we just stuck to our guns, and that record sort of, well, it is. It's really a cult heavy metal classic.
How does it feel to play on something that's so championed? It's almost, I know people throw around the word legendary, but it is.
Yeah, it kind of blows me away, you know. I mean, years, you know, we did it years ago, you know, yeah, it was a good record. And, I mean, it took a few decades later when I would meet people, read articles, and it really took me a while to really appreciate what it meant in the annals of metal. You know, it just was very surprising. You know, and it's an honor for people to view the band and that album in that way. So yeah, it's very. You feel very proud of being able to have a record like that influenced a lot of bands and some players, and fans really appreciate up till now. You know, the younger generation of fans get to hear it, and you get to hear us, you know, on this new EP. You get to hear. A lot of people have never seen the band, so when we do finally go tour, you'll get to hear us perform these songs, and you get a taste of what it was.
Talking with Rick Ventura, I know one of the bands that you toured with on that run was Rush.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was towards the end of the Guy period. Yeah, touring with Rush, I mean, that was like they're at their peak with moving pictures, and yeah, that was just an unbelievable tour. I mean, just a huge audience. We were exposed to a huge audience, and the band went over great. I mean, we were opening for Rush, and people enjoyed us. So that was kind of cool. Geddy used to. We'd see him out front during our sound check. It was like, check it out, Geddy's out front, watching us during sound check. So that was kind of cool.
Did you get a decent amount of time? We mentioned Sammy and AC/DC and Sabbath. Did you get a decent amount of time to hang with any of those guys, or was it pretty much all business?
No, we run into them. And, you around the hotel grounds or backstage, and got to hang with Geezer, which was kind of a thrill.
For sure.
And we hung out in this hotel room. Him and Bill Ward, we were young, they were giving us advice. Telling us what they went through coming up, and all the problems they had with managers, and never making any money. So it was a blast hearing them giving us some guidance. And it's just when you're young and you're sitting there, legendary players like Geezer and Bill. What can you say?
Sure.
You look back and you go, wow.
That happened.
That's a great memory.
Were you with them the night that riot happened in, I think it was Milwaukee?
I don't recall. I don't recall.
Yeah,
yes.
You may not have been.
I might have. I really don't recall.
Okay. So, after the Rush tour, Guy all of a sudden says that's it.
Yeah, that was a shocker. Yeah, that pretty much devastated all of us. He had, I guess, years of frustration of being at a certain level, and frustrations with management, and sometimes he felt just didn't want to do it anymore. I remember talking to him backstage at the Rush show. It was in New York, and just pleading with him not to leave. But what can you do? It was just very unfortunate. He was a one-of-a-kind singer, and he was the sound of Riot. So when you lose a key member and a voice of the band, that's pretty devastating. So, we were quite upset about that.
Rick, how long did it take? What was the process like leading up to finding Rhett Forrester?
Well, running ads, people sending in videos and tapes, and we'd seen some footage of Rhett performing, and he had the whole rock star package, the image, the voice, the attitude, and he came down, and he was just a presence, It's like, oh, wow, he could be a great frontman for us. Changed the direction of the band a bit. I like Restless Breed. There's some really good tunes on there, and I like Red. I like both periods of the band. Fans, as fans, I prefer one over the other, or some like both. But I like both.
Me too. Count me in that Yeah. Oh, I love both eras. The first two eras are far and above, far and away my favorite. So,
Okay.
yes. In fact, I've always wanted to cover Restless Breed.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure when we go out on the road, we will touch on some songs from each record and each period. I'm quite capable of doing that, and it should be a lot of fun. I haven't played some material from Restless Breed in years.
We're talking with Rick Ventura from Riot Act, and I wanted to talk to you because I think "Love by You" was yours, right?
Yes, that was a fun tune to play live because Rick broke out the harp on that, and we went through a little bluesy section of it. So that was a lot of fun to play live. It was a fun live song.
Great song.
Thanks. We did a little guitar harp trade-off, which was kind of fun.
I love that live EP.
Oh yeah.
It's a great version of "Love by You" on there.
Yeah, that's really smoking. They're really smoking. Yeah. The band always, we were just a high energy, just went on stage and gave it our all.
Would you say those songs, and I think Rhett brought a couple songs in as well, but maybe that were existing outside of Riot, but did you kind of, I could tell it was still the same band, but as you mentioned, it changes because the voice changes, but would you say you tailor-made anything specifically for his voice?
Well, I know Mark Mark had a bluesy side. We all did, actually, because our influences were mostly the English blues guitarists. And Rhett definitely had a bluesy side and tone to his voice, and he could get raspy too. But like the song "Restless Breed," I think Mark wrote that with Rhett specifically because Mark liked Paul Rodgers, and who doesn't, right?
Right.
And it almost has that kind of Paul Rodgers kind of feel to it, the Bad Company type of feel to it. So some of the songs, took advantage of Rhett's voice. There's a lot of different sides to that album. You have songs like CIA, "Love by You," "Restless Breed." It touches on a few different areas there.
Yeah. Showdown did pretty well for you, too.
Yeah, they were playing that on a local station here in New York. That was one of the songs that was, I think, probably the only one that was actually played because I guess more accessible for radio here in New York. Usually, heavy bands weren't a focal point on New York radio, but that got some rotation. And that was another song that was suited for Rhett's style.
Certainly. Who did you tour with on that cycle?
Oh, boy. I'm trying to remember. My memory's shot from doing too much sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Oh, there's something to be said for honesty. It's okay, my friend. We're talking to Rick Ventura. And then, so you go from Elektra. I remember when I bought Born in America, I'm like, wow, it's on Quality Records from Canada. And, yeah, and then that was kind of the end of the line for you, right?
Yeah, it's sort of our, I don't know, things just got very weird with record companies and our management. I don't think anybody wanted to touch us or deal with our management, and we should have broken big while on that tour with Rush. Obviously, when God left, it was a whole different ballgame here, but Restless Breed was a good record. We're still on Elektra, but it started to head in a different direction. Not only musically, but it was basically managerial-wise, and going from Elektra to Quality, and it just seemed like, oh boy, it's like we might be going downhill here. Yeah, so that was the last record I was on.
That's right. And I think if I remember right, you're in the video for Born in America.
I don't even know if I am.
I can't remember.
The actual song, I'm not too sure about that. Towards the end, I sort of, just gets frustrated. It was more frustration of years of working so hard and getting so disillusioned by what had happened. It just had such a negative impact on me, and I think we all sort of knew that it wasn't really going to happen in the way that it should have happened.
And that said, I thought it was a pretty good record.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not up there with Fire Down Under. I mean, there's songs in there I like. But it wasn't, the records really weren't promoted, when you're on a big label like Elektra, so it wasn't really promoted. So it kind of gets lost, and what can I say?
Right, exactly. So after Riot, I'm not sure what you did. I know you did something with Jimmy Coons.
Yeah, we got together, and we had a band called Silent Partner, and we wrote some good tunes together. It sort of went back to the roots of early Riot, more straight-ahead rock and roll. That lasted for a few years. Jimmy had opportunity to sing with Savoy Brown, so he had jumped on that. We went through a few incarnations of that band, and it was a good band. It definitely was. We wrote some good tunes. But the focus, I don't know. It started to go into, it was more the hair metal band, period. We really weren't that. Looking back on that, it was kind of an amusing era. But, there's some good bands, good stuff out there, but I just continued to play what I liked to play, whether it went anywhere or not, and it's funny, the decades later, we find out that we're being inducted into the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame.
Right.
A few years back, and I was like, really? I was like, I couldn't believe it. It was like, wow, that was quite an honor, and Lou and I were there, and members of the current Riot 5 lineup, and it's just that was a nice honor to be acknowledged, and that's how all this came about. It's sort of like we weren't really looking to recreate something, but it was just like it just became aware, I guess, to to us how important the band was to a lot of people, and once we started to play those songs again, it was just like, hey, yeah, you know.
Yeah, and you had
definitely lit a fire. It lit a fire down under.
Because you had the classic rock article, and then Martin Popoff did the book about the first 5 albums, and it just it kept the name out there, and I enjoyed that book and that article. And I mean, you could say, well, you know, it was a sad fairy tale or whatever it was, but you know, you slogged it for 5 years, and you did what, 4 albums and an EP, and now you got this new EP, and you're still doing it, and people, I know a handful of people, it's not that many, but in a small town, in a small area where I grew up, we loved Riot.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Yeah, I hear that. You know, you hear that from fans in other countries and parts of the U.S. I mean, it's a really hardcore and loyal fan base, and it's great to be able to be appreciated by those fans, and we appreciate that. And we're just going to continue, you know, playing music that we like to play, whether it's in vogue or not. So I'll tell everyone, just keep your eyes and ears open over the next few months, because we'll be releasing some new material, and hopefully get out there as soon as this virus subsides.
Rick, if people want to buy the EP or want to keep in touch, how can they do that?
Well, just go to riotactband.com, where you'll find all the necessary Riot Act paraphernalia to keep you going through these hard times. Yeah, there's shirts, hats, the EP, and we'll keep you up to date on what the band's doing. So that's the best place.
Fantastic. We're going to keep playing the EP on the Skaar Kaard, and when you get ready to release new material, we'll play it.
Yeah. And thank you for getting us out there, and people that listen to your station will get the news and keep it going.
Rick, thank you so much for your time. Continued all the best.
Mark, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. The guys appreciate it.
For Rick Ventura from Riot Act, I'm Mark Skaar on 103.7 The Fox on the Skaar Kaard, the new classic rock that rocks.